TripAdvisor has called this one of the best hotels in Europe. It's won awards, guests describe it as unforgettable, and it's not even on land because this luxury hotel is actually a ship. But is it really worth the hype, or are travelers just being swept away by the novelty? Today, I'm diving deep into the reviews to find out the truth. And make sure you stay until the end of the video, because as an ex-travel agent, I'll tell you whether I would personally stay there. Hi, I'm Devora. I've spent years helping people choose where to stay, and now I'm using that experience to break down the reviews, highlight what travelers loved, and uncover the complaints, and point out the details you might otherwise miss. So let's get going. Today's hotel is the Fingal Hotel in Edinburgh, Scotland. At first glance, it looks like an elegant luxury hotel, but Fingal has a fascinating history. Originally built as a lighthouse tender, this ship once delivered supplies and transported lighthouse keepers around Scotland's coastline. Today, it's been transformed into a 5-star floating hotel. And judging by the pictures, it's absolutely stunning. The question is, does the reality live up to those glossy pictures? Let's find out. The first thing that stood out to me was how many people described their arrival as an experience. Review after review mentioned the warm, welcoming staff. Guests used words like exceptional, impeccable, nothing was too much trouble. And as a former travel agent, I can tell you this is a huge green flag. People often forget room details, but they remember how they were made to feel. And dozens of guests independently praise the staff. That catches my attention. Let's talk about the rooms, or should I say cabins. One thing guests repeatedly mentioned was how luxurious they felt. Many loved the nautical touches. Others said the beds were among the most comfortable they've ever slept in. The bathrooms also received plenty of praise. But not everyone agreed. Some guests felt that certain cabins were smaller than expected. Others said they had imagined something larger considering the price. This is where expectations become important. You're staying on a beautifully restored ship. It's not going to feel like a giant resort suite. For some travelers, that's part of the charm. For others, it could be slightly disappointing. Now let's move on to one of the most talked about parts of the Fingal, the dining experience. Many guests absolutely raved about the breakfast. Fresh ingredients, beautiful presentation, attentive service, and dinner reviews were equally impressive. Several guests described meals as one of the highlights of their stay. But again, there were occasional criticisms. A few reviewers felt the prices were high. Others expected a wider menu selection. As someone who worked in a travel agency, I always told people luxury hotels often charge luxury prices. The question isn't whether it's expensive, it's whether guests feel they received value. And judging by the overwhelming majority of the reviews, most people did. I think this is where the Fingal really separates itself from traditional hotels. You're sleeping on a historical ship. You can walk the decks, take in the views, enjoy the atmosphere. Guests repeatedly described the experience as unique. Many said they booked it for birthdays or anniversaries or special celebrations. Several even called it magical. This isn't just somewhere to sleep. It's the destination itself. And that's a big reason why people seem willing to pay the premium price. Okay, now, no hotel is perfect, as we know, so what did the negative reviews say? The biggest criticism was the price. Some guests felt the experience was just simply too expensive. Others mentioned that because it's a ship, there are limitations in terms of space. A handful felt that the novelty of a ship wore off very quickly, and there were a few isolated complaints about the minor service delays. But what surprised me was how rare these criticisms actually were. Considering the number of glowing reviews, the negatives appear to be the exception rather than the rule, which is nice. So as always, I'm going on to TripAdvisor to see what the reviews are saying on TripAdvisor. So the Fingal Hotel, which is in Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland. And let's search for some 5-star reviews, first of all. Okay, so I found one from today, actually, from Shona. And she says, unique gem. Last, I had a wonderful dinner at the lighthouse on the Fingal. From the moment we arrived, the service was very attentive, friendly and professional. We ordered from the a la carte menu, which had a great selection. Food was innovative and absolutely delicious. I would highly recommend this unique gem in Leith, and I will definitely be back. And that's Shona, and that's from today, so you can't get any more recent than that. Okay, now let's look at John CW from Brentwood in the UK, and he has a 5-star rating also, and he stayed on October 7th of 25. Outstanding in every possible way, fantastic, special, unique hotel, end-to-end brilliant. All team members we met gave us the very best experience and service. I didn't get everyone's name, but a thank you to Jennifer who helped me with all the bookings. So, I mean, people really do have a wonderful time at this hotel, but let's see if anyone was not so happy. So let's search 2 stars, 3 stars, and 1 star. We have from December 17th, 25, and it's a 3-star from Dread from Halifax in the UK. 1 night sufficient. Nice enough room, amazing reputation, royalty stay there, you know. Extremely disappointing dinner. Breakfast was nice. Nowhere to wait for a taxi in the pouring rain. Not bad. A 3-star though. That was a 3-star. Go for a 2-star from Chunk Rocks from Falkirk in the UK. They stayed there on August 30th of 25. 2-star, disappointed vegetarian afternoon. Decided to come here with friends and my mother as a nice day out for afternoon tea and cocktails. We went through various places of where to go, and having stayed here once and had afternoon tea here 4 times myself, my husband recommended we come. We've not been here since 2022. On arrival, staff very polite, but noted to be such smaller amount of staff on duty than previous visits. We waited for over 40 minutes for our drinks, which we had to ask if we could order drinks, which seemed odd given there were only 7 of us and another 2 table with couples. We booked 5 meat eaters and 2 vegetarian, not vegan. For the meat eaters, they reported their afternoon tea was nice. They were happy and enjoyed the experience. Myself and my mother were given what appeared to be a bowl of hummus with anything to dip in it. A tiny bowl of vegetable batons with further hummus in that bowl. 1 roll with what looked like dried out car food, which was inedible. 1 roll with disgusting fake feta cheese and a further roll with cucumber and fake cream cheese. Oh dear. The cakes consisted of dried out banana loaf and 2 tiny apple droplets on top of inedible pastry. Oh my gosh, she did not have a good time. At no point did the hotel ask if we could eat cheese or eggs, as the afternoon teas previously were full of lovely savories and delicious sandwiches. Getting through this one was dire, and we eventually gave up. I informed the staff it was actually disgusting. Okay, so they went on and on and on. Let's just see if the hotel replied to them. Yes, they did. Thank you for taking the time to review your time on board the Fingal. We are disappointed to read that your most recent experience with our afternoon tea was not up to our usual high standards. Would you be able to contact the restaurant manager to discuss your reservation further? That's good customer service. Now let's go on to booking.com and see how much a night would be on board the Fingal. Nights, including taxes and fees, is €1,106. And it has a 9.6 on booking.com. And for that price, you get a classic cabin, one queen size bed, wake-up service, a view, of course, air conditioning, attached bathroom, flat screen TV, coffee machine, and free Wi-Fi and radio. And the room size is 20 meters squared. So it's not huge, but it is a cabin on a ship. So it's the experience as well. So, would I personally stay here? Honestly, yes. I think Fingal delivers something that many hotels struggle to achieve. A sense of occasion. People don't just remember staying here, they remember how it made them feel. Would I stay here for a week-long budget city break? Probably not. But would I book it for a special occasion? Absolutely. And from an ex-travel agent's perspective, I'd say this is one of those rare hotels where the experience itself becomes part of the story. You'll tell long after you've checked out. But now, I'd love to hear from you. Would you stay in a luxury hotel that's actually a ship? Or would you rather stick with a traditional hotel? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoy honest hotel reviews that go beyond the marketing photos, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next review. Bye-bye.